Take a look at shares of Deere & Company topping the tape and surging nearly 4% today. This move comes after the company reached a tentative 6-year labor agreement with the United Auto Workers Union. This deal covers more than 10,000 workers, includes wage increases, signing bonuses, and more. Workers will still need to vote on this deal. And we've seen this time and time again at a lot of companies, the effort to unionize, an effort to take advantage of the supply-demand dynamics and the labor force favoring the workers who want higher wages, of course, Tim. And this all spells to me tighter margins, although it's good that Deere now has some clarity.
Yeah, it is. And I think that this was something that at least a couple weeks ago, when it looked like they had a deal on the table and then it looked like they were getting squeezed, it left some unknowns. But really, if you look at the overall business for Deere and for Caterpillar, for that matter, Deere's outperformed because I think they have to put less investment in some of their technology and their infrastructure. And I think the tailwinds of where we are right now for both the ag economy and broader, call it food safety dynamics, I think still play to their favor. So a better run company, even with higher labor costs, getting this behind them, interesting. Don't love the chart, but it's had a very good run.
Yeah, Karen?
To me, I think about this news as much broader than Deere. I mean, good for them. Clarity is good. Hopefully it'll be approved. But I think about, this supply chain issue has caused companies to really rethink the just-in-time inventory. And so if they have to repatriate some of the production, obviously that helps unions. There's also been a shift in sort of what is important to companies now, right? It used to be only maximizing shareholder value, but now it's more concerned about all of the constituents, not only shareholders, but, employees sort of move way higher up. So this is an interesting time for labor. And it's not just Deere. It's going to be much broader than that. And that, to me, that seems inflationary. And I think the pendulum will probably swing way too far, bringing more production here, maybe, and it will be more expensive. But I see a lot of others doing the same thing, and they don't have a choice. Not that it's a bad choice to make, but they'll be forced to do it. And I think that's going to be higher wages across the board, higher pricing, inflation.
This kind of inflation is not transitory, or doesn't seem like it would be transitory. Brian Kelly.
Yeah, it's a 5-year deal, right? So, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't consider that transitory. But here's what I think, and why, in my opinion, why Deere is up so much, is that they've now locked in those prices. So if we're talking about some sort of wage price inflation going on, we know where Deere's costs are going to be, at least on the wage front. And if they can raise prices on their tractors and whatnot, then they're actually going to be able to expand margins. So I think that's what the market is responding to today. Also, there is this element of first mover advantage where, the increases they did today are going to seem paltry 2 to 3 years from now if we really do get that inflationary spiral or inflationary pressure everybody's talking about. And then the third thing they've got the tailwind on is look at corn prices, look at wheat prices. Wheat over $8 a barrel, as Tim will tell you today. First time it's done in 2012. So now farmers can afford to buy more tractors and they can buy higher priced goods. Costs are at least somewhat contained. I think it's good for Deere.
It's a good day when we can talk about barrels and bushels on Fast Money. Up next, we've got a buzzkill. We're talking about Roblox. Roblox traded lower today. The online gaming platform actually fell more than 3% following a major outage over the weekend. The outage lasted from Thursday to Sunday. What did people do instead? The company said the problem was caused by an internal system issue. Dan, Nathan, the metaverse is broken? I mean, what went on?
A single point of failure, Mel, and that just must have ruined so many parents who rely on their Roblox accounts for those kids to keep them busy all weekend long, in the lead up to Halloween. I mean, listen, I think it's an interesting name that I've seen brought up a lot since Zuckerberg's, keynote or whatever he did about Meta last week here. And people are saying, hey, listen, this is right in front of you. There's a little metaverse right now that many of our little beings are kind of spending a lot of time in. Listen, this is a company that is not profitable, expected to do $2.5 billion in sales next year, growing, 20% a year for the next few years. Still unprofitable. But I think there's going to be a lot of interesting plays as we kind of step back and try to digest what does the metaverse mean for some of these kind of walled gardens. For Facebook, it really means kind of entry-level hardware into their platforms and the stuff that they want to build. But Roblox is already there. So to me, I would expect to see lots of M&A in this space. The stock had a big run just over the last few weeks into this, down 3.5% on a 3-day outage. Doesn't seem like too big of a deal right now.
3 days seems like a long time. I mean, this reminded me of when Facebook went down, and then Netflix in their earnings report said that they had a surge in streaming during that period that Facebook was down. And granted, Roblox is not nearly the kind of platform that Facebook is, but all those teens and preteens and whoever's on, Roblox, they went somewhere, Tim. I don't know where they go. Obviously, we're not in that demographic, but they went somewhere and they did something.
They were not watching Brady Bunch reruns in my house while it was down. I mean, there was a rebellion. So, look, I do think it points out some of the interdependence and some of the fears that investors may have for some of these companies. The question really for Roblox is, Dan points out, this is a company in a hyper growth period that's not really profitable, and with the future in the metaverse still so unknown, Roblox is certainly laying their claim, and that's in the valuation as well. There's going to be a lot of competition, and for companies that aren't able to really prove their business model, I think right now people need to see this company start to make some money.